Welcome to Module 3.
This time,
We're continuing our search for sources and evaluating those sources, trying to figure out, are they reliable? Are they based on a good expert work? We're also looking to the discussion board as a place where you can talk a little bit with your peers about how you found those top-notch sources. Did you work with a librarian? Did you take a bibliography from an encyclopedia article and mine that as a source of good information for another source? How did you find that? That's for the discussion board. In your blog this module, you'll talk about the nature of your best source. Is your best source one that gets at your problem or your issue in a way that none of the others do? Does it point out some really good new research? Is it by professors or researchers who are experts in this area? What is your best source? What gives you an idea that you can approach to narrow down and focus your topic? For this new module, we're really focusing on note-taking, on the formal outline, and on the mini research paper. This is free, so it's time to try our legs in terms of doing a documented research paper, but a small one that's about 4 pages, about half the size of the paper that you'll do at the end of the course. So let's talk about note-taking for a second. We need to make sure that when we're looking at sources, we figure out, is it a summary note that we need to do on this? Is it a note that gets at the gist of the entire piece or of a large portion of it? Or do we need to reword a small part, maybe a paragraph or a part of a paragraph? And do we need to quote? Quoting is the easiest thing to do, but it makes problems sometimes for us later on. So your textbook is really good at helping you figure out when to quote and not to quote. Your librarians are helping us with the idea of the annotated bibliography, and that's probably going to be due right away. So make sure that you've watched their
6
videos and that you know how to approach that assignment, because that affects your success in both the mini research paper and the full research paper at the end of the course.
In this module,
your reading is about making good arguments, making good claims, and assembling reasons and evidence from your sources. So it's a really good explanation of what you need to be doing both in this paper, next modules, opposition paper, and then the final research paper of Module 5. Let me just say something about ethics. You have a small reading this week on ethics. Usually when researchers, whether students or professionals, go wrong, it's because they've done sloppy research. Not because they intended to misuse other people's intellectual knowledge, but because they just slipped up. Their methods of keeping notes and recording details became a little sloppy. So I would encourage you, now that you're into the heart of the research project, that you make sure that every note is double-checked, that you make sure that page numbers, or if it's a web-based source, paragraph numbers or section headings are precise before you lay your note card aside. Also, this week, I want to emphasize that you're going to have your first peer review session. And this is going to take place in your group
assignment.
I've played God for a moment here and put you into groups of 3 or 4. And it's this week that you need to get together after the 3 or 4 of you have posted your draft of your mini research paper. You need to post your response to each other's papers in the wiki. If you feel the need to get together in a platform like Google Hangout, that's up to you. You can send me your link for that recording, but you're not required to do that. All you're required to do is post your feedback. I would encourage you to think about each of those papers and the strengths and weaknesses, and I post a guideline for you to help you with that task. Now, next
module,
as I said, is your devil's advocate paper, so you need to make sure that you have at least 2 good sources that advocate for a position that you tend not to identify with on this issue or problem. So that's one thing you need to work on this week, making sure that you have a couple, minimum, good sources on that. So I wish you well, and I'll see you in consultation.